man is back.
Oh, okay, boys. Oh my gosh, the man got that stuff. This is a 5 out of freaking 5.
It is beat making time.
Next week is E3 week. My album comes out next week.
I have the leopard. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? But look at that, my God.
This is your boy. All right, ladies and gentlemen of the YouTube citizens, y'all know who this is. This is your boy Dash the True Inferno. Back at it with another Call of Duty Black Ops 6 commentator video gameplay for you guys, and at some point I'm gonna get Black Ops 7. I think it comes out in November. I could be mistaken. I need to look to see when that game comes out, and then I'm gonna get that joint and obviously play it, get some gameplay for you guys, and then go from there. Now, we got it's another video where I'm talking about a video game company referring to Nintendo, Microsoft, or Sony. But in this case, it's Microsoft again. In this case, it's Micro-freaking-Soft again. Now, here's what's going on. The title, maybe, I don't know what the title of this video is going to be, but let's get into it. So, basically, here's what's going on. Somebody is saying that Microsoft is going to give up making consoles and focus on software. You know, basically going the Sega route, where they gave up on consoles and started making their games for other, for other video game companies. So mostly Nintendo in that case. Well, even though somebody did say that Microsoft is going to give up making systems, Microsoft themselves, on the other hand, is saying, no, that's not true. We're going to make new systems. Okay. So let's get all the details real quick. So this was on a Reddit. And let's see, this came from, who posted this? MX Hombre123. So this person, and the title of this Reddit post is Neo GAF Xbox, and then in parentheses, new, in parentheses there, hardware is up in the air and may not happen despite their announcements. More retail stores will pull Xbox from sale, and Microsoft is becoming 100% a third-party publisher. So that's the title right there. Now, and then, like, the first thing that says that this comes from Sneaker SO. This insider accurately leaked Xbox third-party plans. So check this out. Here's what Sneaker SO says, and then there's a source behind this, which we'll explore in a minute. So check this out. Without going into much detail, not long after the last round of layoffs, and in the parentheses, the next one should be coming in Q1 of 2026, by the way, and it's going to be just as massive as the last one, in parentheses right there. Some rumblings out of Xbox starting coming out that were a little hard to believe. The ramifications of the, I'm assuming this is Call of Duty Game Pass, because it says CODGP, so Call of Duty Game Pass gambit not working out were just starting to get properly measured. But the thing that really stuck out to me was the suddenly really concrete plans for actual Microsoft Xbox hardware. So the MS Microsoft HW hardware went from being definitive to up in the air, which was really startling given that this thing was meant to be out relatively soon. It was one of those situations where, despite folks being told, and there's a quote here, hey, we want to pull the trigger on this in 2026, end quote. The steps you would need to take in the lead up to delivering a new console gen weren't being met. Lots of things that were, quote unquote, sure things started getting published. The Costco retailer put in Xbox, and apparently there are one of many that we learned about soon. Told me all I needed to know. To sum it up, the future of Xbox is software publishing, which a significantly honed-in focus on profitable IPs like Call of Duty, World of Warcraft, Minecraft, Candy Crush, Forza Horizon. All those games were in parentheses, by the way. Cloud gaming being the home of the Xbox platform. The Xbox platform was in quotes, by the way. Transitioning Game Pass into basically becoming the point of entry subscription for xCloud access. Here's another parentheses, which will continue to drive its price tag higher, by the way. They aren't done there just yet either, in parentheses. And releasing their software on any device that has a marketplace and users willing to buy their titles. Maybe some OEM, I don't know what that stands for, OEM thing will take up the Xbox name. I think OEM is something dealing with computer components. I don't know. I could be mistaken. But moving on. But given what is clearly a collapse in favorable mindshare and faith in said brand, I'm not even sure a third-party OEM is going to want to have an Xbox console by the time Microsoft is done with their reorienting of the division. So let's check out this source. This source was posted in a neogaf.com thread. So this is what Sneaker SO said. So let me see. I want to see if there was like a beginning post to this. And the answer to this is, that must say page 29 and 36. Okay, let's just read the quote from Sneaker SO. So here's what they said. So basically somebody said, I don't know how you pronounce this name, Cruz, K-R-U-I-S, said, I wonder where our old pal Sneaker SO thinks of what's going on right now at Xbox. His last postings were from 2 months ago. I wouldn't mind an industry insider's perspective on all of this. So here's what Sneaker SO said in response to that. Without going into much detail, not long after the last round of layoffs, okay, basically everything that I said. Okay, so that's where he posted that, or they posted that post. So there you go with that. Now, this next point is from Kotaku.com. So the title here is called Xbox Steer Swears is not giving up on consoles as fan morale craters. So let's check this out. Amid fears that unpopular Game Pass price hikes marks the latest blow to Microsoft's console gaming ambitions, the tech giant claims its next-gen hardware plans remain unchanged. The next Xbox might be more PC-like than ever, but there will be one. And here's a quote. We are actively investing in our future first-party consoles and devices designed, engineered, and built by Xbox. This is an intro, by the way. The company wrote in a statement to Windows Central. Continue on with the quote. For more details, the community can revisit our our terms and agreements, something like that. Okay. Can revisit our agreement announcement with AMD. Okay. I hope they're not using the fact that they just came out with that, what is it, that AMD Alloy handheld joint as like a example of them releasing a console. I hope that's not what they getting at, but let's move on. Continue on. That was the intro, by the way. That last part references an announcement Microsoft made over the summer for a multi-year partnership to co-engineer silicon across a portfolio of devices, including living room consoles and PC gaming handhelds. It then continue on with a quote. Together with AMD, we're advancing the state of art in gaming silicon to deliver the next generation of graphics innovation to unlock a deeper level of visual quality and immersive gameplay and player experiences enhanced with the power of AI, all while maintaining compatibility with your existing library of Xbox games. And this was a quote from Xbox President Sarah Bonds said at the time. Now, next subtitle, Next Gen Panic. Some fans were afraid that might no longer be the case after rumors started spreading on social media over the weekend that Microsoft may have decided to finally abandon first-party hardware as it pivots towards multi-platform publishing. A NeoGAF thread from, and that's where the post came to play. So there you go with that. We're gonna move on to the next paragraph. Fully rampant speculation online were recent moves by some wholesale retailers to seemingly stop carrying current generation Xbox Series X and S units on their shelves. The unofficial shift began with a report from Costco ditching listings for the consoles online and shrinking its Xbox footprint in stores, followed more recently by claims that Sam's Club is discontinuing Xbox Series X and S hardware to unload the rest of its inventory. Interesting. Now, next subtitle, higher prices, fewer exclusives. But the biggest key to these quote-unquote sky is falling, end quote, mentality amongst some Xbox fans was Microsoft's decision to ramp up the price of Game Pass Ultimate to $30. So this was done, like 2-3 weeks ago, something along those lines. That move followed terror-fueled console price increases that made the already flagging Xbox Series X and S even harder to sell, alongside first-party franchises like Gears of War and Forza Horizon coming to PlayStation for the first time ever. And we already talked about them raising the prices for the Xbox Series X and S for the second time this year, by the way. Moving on. Taken all together, there's a perspective among some that Xbox hardware has never been less competitive in the console gaming space. Why invest in another generation of internally developed consoles at this point, especially after a teased Xbox handheld was reportedly sidelined inside the company in favor of an Xbox-branded Alloy ROG2 developed by Asus. So that's the one I was talking about right there. One reason might be that the Xbox platform, even if it's shrinking, is still a not insignificant part of the Xbox gaming division's bottom line. One of the cornerstones features of the ever more expensive Game Pass subscription on console is access to multiplayer. The company still gets a 30% commission on all purchases made on Xbox, and without a console, the company is completely reliant on PC and mobile signups. At least for now, it's a part of the business the tech giant isn't ready to walk away from. So, what do we think about here? So the question is, are they moving away from hardware? Are they moving away from making systems or not? Now, I know that, like, here's the thing when it comes to insiders. Some of the things they say may be true, other things could be not true. And then there's some things where originally it was true, but because that insider statement went out about that company decided to change things just to go against the insider. That might be a possibility. So, it's going to be a tough one to say where they go from here, because here's where Xbox is at right now. I said this plenty of times on this channel. I'm going to say it again. When it comes to Microsoft, Sony, and Nintendo, when it comes to really virtually the gaming space as a whole, Microsoft is in dead last. Microsoft is in dead last. And it's not even close. Why is that? Because Microsoft no longer have the first party games. Well, first of all, to a degree, they never really had it. It always, for the most part, belonged to Nintendo. And if it wasn't Nintendo, it was Sony with their first party games. To a degree, Microsoft was there with the Halos and the Gears of Wars and stuff like that. But with those games coming over to PlayStation, Microsoft with first party games, please. Nah. They not at this point, they don't have any first party games. At this point, they don't have any first party games. They probably wonder, you just said it yourself, they have Gears of War, they have Halo, they got Forza. A first party game, let me give you the definition of a first party game in my opinion. A first party game is a game that came out, but it's only exclusive to a specific console or a specific family of consoles. So once upon a time, Halo, Gears of War, Forza Horizon, and stuff like that were exclusive to Xbox, thus making them first party games. But now that they're going over to PlayStation, they're no longer first party games. They're now becoming third party games. But on that note, what would you consider a second party game? Would you consider that to be second party? I don't know. But bottom line is this. Those games are no longer first party games. That's what I'm getting at with this. So there's that. That's number one. And at this point in time, Nintendo got the first party games on lock. They do. Like, it's not even close. Once upon a time, it might have been close with Sony, but nowadays, nah. Because Sony dropped the ball with their first party games as well, in terms of them really not making any, or not making any that is really exciting, or bringing some of the OGs back, or getting rid of them. But nevertheless, Nintendo got the first party games a lot. Who got the better hardware? So, PlayStation. The PlayStation 5 Pro, even though I keep telling people don't get that because you know the PlayStation 6 coming out, that is the best system out now in terms of specs, performance, what all it can do and stuff like that. That is the best system out right now. In terms of the more popular system, that's the Switch 2. That is the Nintendo Switch 2. That's the more popular system because that much just came out. People going crazy about it. They just dropped Pokemon Legends EA for it. More games are coming out for that system. And that is the more popular system. Nobody's going crazy over the Xbox Series X or S right now. Nobody. So Microsoft is in last place of that as well. Now, in terms of intangibles, okay, that would be where the Game Pass comes to play. Now, normally I can say, well, the PlayStation got a competitor, but their competitive, what they call competitive to the Game Pass is trash. So there's that. But the problem with Microsoft is they already raised the price to the Game Pass Ultimate subscription. I don't have that. I have like the regular Game Pass subscription that's only for console, not for console and PC, aka the unlimited. So my prices remain the same, or it went up maybe by a little bit, I guess. But the bottom line is this: the fact that they went up on Ultimate, it's like, yeah, your Game Pass is the best in terms of what it can do, but it doesn't carry enough weight to the point where it can overtake Sony for having the best console out now, or can overtake Nintendo for having the best first party games out. No, it's not carrying that much weight. It's not doing that much damage to the point where it could propel Microsoft over Sony or Nintendo. This, despite what Nintendo brings to the table and despite what Sony brings to the table. So basically, bottom line is this: Game Pass is not better than Nintendo's first-party games. Game Pass is not better than the fact that the PlayStation 5 Pro is the more powerful and the best performing system out now. Game Pass basically carries little rate now. Less rate now because of the price increase than it did before it. So basically, like, Microsoft got nothing. Microsoft got nothing. And here's how things are going right now, because you gotta remember this. Obviously, we got the Switch 2. Switch 2 is out now. And I talked about this in the old video. I don't know when I put out this video, but I put this joint out a while back. And what am I talking about? The fact that a PlayStation 6 and a PlayStation 6 handheld, this was 2 months ago actually, a PlayStation 6 and a PlayStation 6 handheld are potentially coming. Well, first of all, a PlayStation 6 is coming, which is why I've been telling people don't get the PlayStation 5 Pro, because a PlayStation 6 is coming. And I gave the specs that were reported or that was leaked, or whatever the case may be. And again, if what they said about the PlayStation 6 is true, the fact that there's going to be a home console and a handheld version that's going to compete with the Switch 2, what the fuck is Microsoft going to do in the hardware space? Like, what are they going to do? There's nothing they can do to compete against that. Like, they would have to rely on, what's that thing called? The Xbox branded Ally ROG 2, which is basically competitive to the Steam Deck and other handhelds similar to that. And it's, even in that department, the Steam Deck is still best based on what I'm hearing. And there's other handhelds that's better than this. Like, you better get a regular Ally ROG 2 instead of the Xbox branded one. And it's like, I don't see a future. The way things are going right now, I do not see a future for Xbox in the hardware space. They should take a page out of Sega's playbook and give up on hardware and focus on software. They got the Game Pass. They bring in their quote-unquote first-party games over the PlayStation. They should just roll with that, because nowadays, with the Game Pass and with some of their games, you can play it on PC, which is by far the best system, the best thing to play video games on, the PC, to be honest. So it's like, people are going to be smart enough to realize, well, wait a minute now. PC, we can play online for free instead of getting a Xbox Live membership or a PlayStation Plus or any of the Nintendo Online crap. Not PlayStation, but PC got the better specs because we can actually mod them, to meet our needs, to meet our specifications, whatever. So why build a system that is not going to compete with PC? Why build a system where people may potentially not buy the system because they're going to constantly rely on PC? So, and then why build a system that may not compete with the Switch 2 and the handheld PS6? So, in my opinion, Microsoft should give up on the hardware. They should give up on the hardware and stick to software for the Game Pass and making games for other systems like Sony and Nintendo. That's where I think Microsoft should be heading right now. I'm gonna call it right now. So with all that said, y'all know this is boy New J Gatsby, aka New Steam Day Smith, saying peace out, y'all, and I'll see y'all next time. Yeah.
Here comes